The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you could need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Becoming Universally Aligned. And I am your host, Cindy. I am a Reiki master, teacher. I do sound healing. I use tuning forks, biofield tuning, all of that to bring health and wellness to people. So today, we are going to talk about meditation. So if you have ever felt that meditation is not for you, or it's just something that you haven't really, you've tried it and just not liking it, this conversation is going to help you maybe soften that belief and maybe open a doorway for you so that you can learn a little bit more about meditation and what to expect here. So tonight I am honored to have Trish O'Tone on. I have known Trish for, oh my gosh, I'm guessing about 14 years or more. So she is a medium. She teaches intuition. She teaches meditation. She is an author of a book called Awakening the Guru in You. So I'm going to pull her on here and we can get into a little chat. Hi, Trish.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast tonight.
Well, thank you for coming. So I was just saying how it's been a long time that I have known you. So, and just mentoring, all of that, right? And we're pretty close here, location wise. Yes. So, but I do have your website on here. So if anyone wants to connect with you, all they have to do is go to your website and check you out. So I do have the chat open here. So I'm just going to bring everybody up here that's in. I'm not going to show it on the main screen only because it was cutting over. So So Heidi is here. Hi, Heidi. Thanks for joining. So Heidi is from Boulder, Colorado.
Hi, Heidi.
And Keith. So Keith has the show right before us, The Otter's Den. Yeah, you'll have to check him out as well. And Adam, thank you for joining. Thank you for watching tonight. And Denise, hi, happy Monday, Denise. And Heidi's saying hello, Trish.
Hi, Heidi.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was reading your book, and I guess it would have been at least 3 years ago when I started reading it, and I loved it. Right, like I
Thank
was
you.
just starting to get into walking meditations and really because I was at a point where I had my alone time and my space where it made it easier for me to really spend a lot of time doing meditation. And I wonder sometimes maybe if that's part of it, that people just are unable to close those doors and do that for
Yeah,
themselves too.
it,
But
it is tricky. It can be super challenging. I know when I was doing a particular training, which was every day for 6 months, I was studying with a monk. I used to take my lunch hour and, in the nicer weather, just go to a park and do
yeah,
it there. And I'm sure I looked like an idiot, but it doesn't matter. It was part of my discipline. And I had a teacher tell me once, on a train, on a plane, in a bus, like it doesn't really matter.
yeah,
And those things are real struggles to sort of carve out time in our busy lives. And even I remember, there's lots of distractions no matter when. It could be a siren, it could be people in the next room, but you just need to sort of work through those challenges if you really want to see the benefits and gain the benefits. And it doesn't take heaps of time. I know we're all busy, but it has to be something you want. So otherwise, regardless, in life, it won't be sustainable if it's not something you're dedicated to.
yeah. And just before now, we jumped on here, but we were talking about what the benefits are. Like, there's different reasons why people are jumping in, and maybe some people are told that they need to decrease their blood pressure. They have anxiety. There's all kinds of reasons, right? Or it could be this spiritual awareness that they're trying to achieve as
For
well.
sure.
Right?
There's always, I think I was saying, we're physical, mental, emotional, spiritual beings, right? So each of those elements that make up our humanness, you know, meditation can benefit all of those. It just depends on, everybody is drawn for some reason, and it becomes savvy, it becomes popular, in fashion, out of fashion. It's been around for probably 5,000 years, meditation, but there's always a benefit to it. I don't know of a non-benefit to meditation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so no matter what your ultimate goal is, if you have any, or your reason for wanting to start a practice or try meditation, the benefits are multitude. And sometimes it's not immediate. I think that is a big challenge for people as well, because if you're going to begin a practice and you have specific goals, I would caution you to just experience the meditation, and eventually the goals may or may not come. But you know
Yeah.
it's a long-term thing. You don't, you're not going to levitate. If you want to levitate and you think, I'm going to jump in meditation and in a month I should be floating, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Adam is from Texas. He's hanging out at home watching tonight. And Lois is here. Hi, Lois. Thank you for joining. Heidi is saying, Meditation and breath work are absolute game changers. They are, yeah. I know that for me, it has been, meditation has been brought a lot of clarity for me as well, right?
Yeah, for me, I think in my life, for a multitude of reasons, spiritual development for sure, emotional balance,
Yeah, anxiety for me as well.
understanding who I am, all those things. Meditation is the most profound number one thing I've learned that has been beneficial to me in countless ways. And I think sometimes people dismiss the benefits just because, if you're not a spiritually minded person, you may think it's too woo woo, and, you may think you need to say om and wear funny clothes, or, sit in a lotus position. If you're a medical person, you may say it's great for blood pressure, but dismiss the spiritual component. Um, but like I said earlier, I don't know of any negative that can come from meditation or having a practice. And it's helped me in every area of my life, I would say, all those categories. And it's
Yeah,
free. This is just the thing, sometimes, particularly in Western society, we dismiss things that don't have a monetary value
yeah,
because, it's just that's how we are in North America. And I think sometimes people don't believe it can be as good as it is because it is so, it can be very simple. And we like to complicate things, I think, in
yeah,
North American, our mindset here.
yeah. So we have a few ways that we can go. We could talk about how you got into it, because I know that it's it's recommended for people who are having medical issues, right? As
Yeah,
well.
sure. I mean, I've been meditating for, I just counted when we were talking earlier, for 40 years.
Yeah.
Makes me feel very old. But when I was quite young, 17, I had cancer. I had two types of cancer at the same time. It's a long story. But I spent a lot of time in recovery. And I was, to be fair, always a God minded person. I was a very spiritual person. Um, at that age, I only had church to compare it with, but really what it was spiritual. And my faith was always strong. And so, I had spent time, I was raised Catholic, spent time praying, doing the rosary, which are forms of meditation for sure. But I was recovering for a lot of time. And I just fell into meditation. I think at the time, I was just studying maybe native spirituality, like First Nations. Um, and I just fell into meditation, and I meditated from 17, and it's just been amazing for me, not only in terms of cultivating my spiritual gifts, my intuitive gifts, but like I said, just navigating life, just learning who I am, just learning to have a sharp discernment and to be aware of things. And many years later, probably in my mid 30s, I would say, I learned from a monk I mentioned earlier a
Yeah.
particular practice of walking and sitting meditation together. And it was when I practiced that particular type or style of meditation that I personally noticed a very much faster progression in terms of my intuitive gifts, in terms of things really, opening up for me. And anybody who wants to develop their intuition, meditation is the gateway. I mean, it really is. You know, not everybody's going to be a medium, not everybody's going to be a psychic, but everyone is born that way and can cultivate that intuitiveness. And
Yes.
meditation is the highway to do that on.
Yeah. Yeah. So the what is it with that? Is it because you're using more of your body as you are in meditation, like with the movement with it?
You mean the walking and sitting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, if anybody out there has tried to do meditation and you're just doing sitting meditation, everybody who's tried that will know, it takes particularly when you start, it takes a good long time to sort of get in the zone. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Right?
Yeah.
So, you're sitting and your body's gonna relax, and then your brain is doing the gerbil wheel and the grocery list and what did I forget to do today? And all that stuff. And so when you start with a walking meditation, which is basically like pacing back and forth. It's not about walking in the woods, okay? Because that can have a meditative quality for sure. And it's definitely an opportunity for soul connection and all those things. But in
Yeah.
terms of this particular style, that's not the kind of walking I'm talking about. It's a specific pacing, turning. It basically is back and forth walking.
Yeah.
So when you do this and you engage that, let's say for 30 minutes, by the time you sit down to do your sitting meditation, your body is really primed to go deep because you've spent 30 minutes physically moving, so the blood's pumping, you've gone through the grocery list, you've kind of done all that pre work. So when you
Mhm.
sit, it's kind of like the biggest bang for your buck that way because you've really sort of already primed yourself to have a very solid sitting 30 minutes. That's what I would do, 30 and 30. But you can
Yeah.
build up to that as long as it's split, it can be 10
Right.
minutes, 10 minutes. If you only have 20 minutes, 10 and 10.
Okay. All right. I
But
got it.
that's sort of the thinking. And my personal experience as well. Like
Yeah.
when you've done all that, all of that distraction has kind of been taken care of. So by the time you sit down, you're good to go.
Yes.
And
So
you're
Heidi,
happy to sit down.
yeah.
Yeah,
So Heidi is saying, I say go within and remember who you really are. Yes.
for sure.
Um, and that was one of my things too. What I was going to say is about the stillness. Are we connecting? Is it increasing our divine awareness, or is it more about the divine ourselves? Right.
Well, I
That's
think that with a practice of meditation, because remember again, if we're talking about connecting with divinity, remembering who we are, all that kind of stuff, that will happen. There's no question. Will that happen the first time you spend 10 minutes sitting in meditation? That's debatable. Um, but certainly, and we were talking about that divinity component earlier before we came on, and you know if your belief is that we are of the divine, or if we're all in fact connected and are the divine, then there is no disconnection from that divine. But I think people sort of have that meditative high sometimes, that
right.
feeling of elation when you reconnected consciously with that feeling. And when you're driving your car to work, you're not going to connect to that, right? So it's only in
Right.
meditation that we cultivate the space and the right environment to have that meaningful connection.
Yeah. And and each time is not always going to be the same for
Ne-
someone, right? Like
I've been
um
meditating for 40 years. I've never had the same experience.
yeah.
Similar things certainly, and as you deepen your practice, you will know. There's a technical word for it called absorptions, and you will know the path that you. I don't know how to express this well, but there. If you have a practice and you've meditated 100 times, like doing anything else, you're going to sort of go, okay, I'm at this place now, or oh, I can feel I've gone a little deeper now, and you may have certain indicators like road posts. Your hands may get cold, or there may be some sensations you experience, whether they're physical or energetic. Um, that let you know, okay, I'm on the right path. But then human nature is we think about it too much, and our brain gets involved, and then we knock ourselves out of that depth, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which can happen also.
Yeah. Lois is here. So I think this is where we were talking about the walking meditation a few minutes ago. I needed to hear that is walking opening it up.
Walking technically is preparing your body for sitting, which will manufacture the right environment for you to open up, for sure. Probably, a little bit quicker if we're talking in an isolated meditation
Mm-hmm.
situation. But I wouldn't consider just walking. It's only part of the equation, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know for myself, most of my meditation that I ever did until I learned this certain technique was sitting, whether it was guided or silent or whatever. Even breath work, usually, depending on your approach, is sitting sometimes. And it wasn't until I added the two together in tandem that I noticed a profound expediting, I guess, of my own connection and awakening, and certainly an increase in my ability to stay sharp, well past meditation, and to expand my psychic gifts and my spiritual gifts.
Yeah.
The two of them together are more powerful than separately each of them. Is
Right.
basically how it is in my experience.
I think too, did you have a practice of watching the candle flame as well
I
too?
did do that as an exercise for sure,
Yeah.
as a what I call a mind building exercise. Because our a third eye for sure, is like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
And if you aspire to increase your intuitive gifts and you want to move into the realm of psychic stuff or phenomena or mediumship or anything like that, you you need to cultivate the ability to control your mind at the same time it is expanding,
Yeah.
because to only expand without control is a very dangerous thing, and it can lead to imbalances. It can lead to perceiving things, um, that aren't necessarily accurate,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
and when I'm teaching, I often use poor Shirley MacLaine. In the '70s, she wrote this book, and she was into past life regression, and she had this amazing experience, and she did meditation, and she was sure that she was Cleopatra in another lifetime. And whether that's true or not, who am I to say? But my point is, discernment is a very important thing when you're wanting to cultivate spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, mediumship gifts, healing gifts, anything like that. And in my experience, the best way to keep your foot on the gas pedal of discernment is just to keep it sharp. And meditation is the way to keep it sharp. And a practice of meditation is the way to keep it sharp.
Yeah. And consistency too, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Um, so
there
what?
has there is a discipline element. I mean, you can't escape it. We don't like that here in
Yeah.
North America. We don't like, we're freewheel, and we just want to go with the flow.
Yeah.
But the truth is, you know, you do need to show up for yourself in that way if you aspire to these things, right? If we want to see the benefits of meditation take hold, whether it's lowering blood pressure, whether it's being able to increase our memory, or move throughout our day, or not have people trigger us, to degrees that maybe they do, to control some of that, you need to be able to control that discernment and navigate life, and it just really helps with all that stuff,
Yeah.
like
Uh,
simple things. you know Often people try to complicate it, but I mean, wouldn't it be great, like, so maybe you won't be a medium, but maybe you won't feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster anymore. I don't know, I think I'd rather not feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I know. Especially at this time right now where we're at,
Yeah,
because
for
the
sure.
energy is super high.
It is, and I think also because we're at this time where there is immediate access to all kinds of information. Some of it now, there's all that deep fake business and AI and all. Like,
Yeah.
without discernment, you're
Yeah.
screwed. You know,
Yeah.
and if there is an easy, inexpensive way to keep your pencil sharp, as I like to say, And when I say that, I mean in terms of your ability to have increased discernment. Why not do it?
Yeah.
It just makes everything easier.
Yeah.
In my experience, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. And being on the social media and things like that, and you're seeing things, so that this is the one thing, is when I'm reading it, how am I feeling when I'm
Yeah,
reading it, right? We really
for sure.
have to be careful there. Walking does help. Even just walking between the machines at work helps to release the stress. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean your nervous system is gonna, and movement is crucial for
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah, because you're moving that stuck energy, right?
Right.
So yeah, it makes sense that the movement
And we're
is
made to move. Humans are made to move. We're not made to sit at a desk at a computer for 8 hours or 10 hours or 15 without moving. Right. I think even corporate gets that now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So if someone is where would someone totally want to start? Like, would you start at the guided? So if you're just not if you're too fidgety, say I have high
Sure.
anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And I just cannot sit still, and it just frustrates me even more. You would start with guided with music going, like a
Well,
calm
I
music.
think starting is important regardless, right? So finding something that you can do that calms you in any way is going to have a meditative quality. Even things that aren't technically considered meditation have meditative qualities, like gardening or what do they
Coloring.
call it in Japan? Forest gazing, like
Oh,
walking
yeah.
in the woods. Like a lot of things have a meditative quality, and even if you happen to work in a factory and you're on an assembly line, like there's a meditative quality to the repetitiveness of anything.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rosary, meditative. So anything you can find, if you're somebody that suffers from high anxiety and you want to be able to improve that in a natural kind of way, anything that allows you physical movement that is repetitive, um, but your mind is free, right? Is going to have a meditative quality and a benefit. But if you want to, I always encourage people to choose something to have a practice, right? So whatever that is, if it is just following your breath for 10 minutes every morning,
Yeah.
perfect. Start there. And once you have that going, once you're like, oh, I look forward to my 10 minutes every morning and following my breath, know that that's going to change, and sometimes you'll forget to follow your breath and your brain will be somewhere else, and that's normal. But you just stick to that 10 minutes and then start doing what I always call as meditative cross training. So we want to experience different things, guided meditations, sound meditations, breath work.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of different types of meditations out there. Mindfulness, Zen, like there's many, many different things. Even, yoga is a form of physical, in my mind, can be a physical meditation.
Yeah.
Um, but don't give up the 10 minutes a day, because it's about having a practice and sustaining that practice in whatever level you can do it, and then exploring different ways of meditating or connecting, right?
Yeah.
Because certain meditations are passive and certain meditations are active. If you're in a guided meditation and you're being guided to do something, that is more of an active meditation. Excuse
Yeah.
my little cat there.
That's okay.
And if you're doing a sitting meditation, that's a very passive meditation. We're not trying to accomplish anything in that meditation. There's no seeking. There's just sort of receiving. And I like to mix it up because I think there's benefit to do that, but not at the cost of a practice, I guess
Right.
is my point.
Yeah. Now, oh, Adam says, I feel like if I had a desk job, I would be so bored. Um,
Well, to each his own.
I so when you are So when you are actually sitting, so it's really not a meditation when you are sitting and connecting with your guides to get answers. That is more of a connection.
I would call that I mean, for me personally,
Yeah,
that's a very active thing, right? So
yeah,
you're sitting. I mean, is it technically meditation? I don't think, like, who cares, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that a lot of people, and I think like-minded people, forget that most people still haven't even heard of guides. Like, they're not in that spiritual sphere where that's even in their on their radar screen. But
yeah,
um, sitting and connecting with your guides, and that's definitely what I would call, that's more channeling, really,
yes,
perhaps, or at the very minimal, I would say it's an active meditation, because you're on a mission. You're there to do something.
yeah.
You're seeking something.
Yeah, and now, so I'm finding too, so certain people who haven't been into alternative therapy or healing, anything like that. So you're right. As soon as I think that might be kind of the myth about meditation is that things like that is going to happen, and it kind of holds people back from trying to do the meditation as well when they're first getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on why a person is seeking meditation to begin with. If it's for physiological reasons or medical reasons, that's one thing. If it is to heighten their intuition, that's a whole other approach.
Yeah,
Um, Eventually, you're going to get it all, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you may start because I want lower my blood pressure, and 6 months in, you might experience some type of psychic phenomena, or a vision, or something, or you're seeing something in your eye, or you even have palpitations, or pressure on your third eye. That's going to be a result from all of that meditation. It's like going to the meditation gym, right? People
yeah,
go to the gym for all kinds of reasons, but eventually you cross over. Eventually
yeah,
there's crossover, because you're a full being. You're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So you can't do one without bringing the others with you.
yeah. It just everything is going to be clearer in the environment, so they're just going to be feeling, seeing, hearing so much more and differently, right? It changes everything around you.
For sure. And the changes are subtle. I think that's very important. That, I mean, even I know some very spiritually aware people who have dabbled, let's say, in meditation for years, and never really committed to a big practice. And they're expecting large gestures to happen because they show up for a meditation. And meditation, the benefits are far more subtle. I remember one of the things I noticed when I deepened my practice eventually, by adding in the walking and sitting, when I was in that place, one of the things I noticed was that I did spreadsheets a lot faster. Like, my brain was functioning at higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
What used to take me 45 minutes, I could do in 20. Just because, again, my pencil was sharp, my mental acumen was on point. It was
Mm-hmm.
sharper. There was no brain fog. There was no distraction. My ability to focus was heightened.
Yeah,
So it isn't always sort of a spiritual thing or an energy thing, or those things are cool. I'm not
yeah,
saying they're not. And eventually you'll have some type of experience, but it
yeah,
isn't large gestures. You could meditate for 3 years before any third eye action starts happening, right?
yeah, yeah. So Adam is asking, can meditation be the same as remote viewing?
Okay, those are two very different things. I would say, Adam, remote viewing is a byproduct. Well, I would say the success you have at remote viewing um, would be influenced by how much you're meditating. Um, Remote viewing, for those who don't know, is if I'm sitting here in my chair in my house, and I decide to engage in a meditative state that allows me to view something going on at a different geographical location. That's what remote viewing is. I mean, it's an interesting thing. World War II, they used to use remote viewers on both sides to access, confidential information. But I wouldn't say remote viewing in itself is a meditation. I would say that's an
Mhm.
activity that you do through accessing a certain brain state, and you might access it through a technique that is a meditative technique. But I wouldn't do that as a discipline. It's certainly not to get very technical, but certain things you do uh, spend money from your meditative bank account, and certain things you do add money into your meditative bank account. And the active stuff, which remote viewing is an active exercise of meditation.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
spending a lot of your mind power by doing something like that, and it would take many hours of non-active meditation to rebuild that meditative bank account.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. I was thinking that too. Like prior to remote viewing, you would be doing the breath work. You would be preparing yourself to
Yeah,
for
you're
that
trying
practice.
well you're trying to get yourself into a particular state to access your ability to remote view.
And meditation it gets you to that
It's
state.
a vehicle for sure. I would think it's part of the process. I mean, I would say very few people can, you know, sip their coffee, sit in a chair, and remote view. Like, there's prep work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Um, I'm gonna pull up something here. Um, so your book, Awaken the Guru in You, is really about getting to know yourself, learning these practices, and fine tuning yourself too. I think fine tuning is actually one of your chapters in there. Fine tuning.
Yeah. I mean, the whole reason the book came about is because clients, so I'm often asked, how do I do what I do? How did I get where I am? And it just doesn't start next Wednesday. All of a sudden, I'm a medium. That wasn't my experience, and certainly there were years before I worked as a medium that I was cultivating my intuitive gifts, and meditation is the foundation of all of that, in my opinion. So, if, as I said earlier, someone aspires to cultivate their spiritual gifts, whether it's healing or psychics or tarot or mediumship or channeling or whatnot, the vehicle to expand yourself is certainly meditation. It is the foundation of opening yourself to all the realms, right?
Yeah,
Because people, there's, I think, um, there's different levels, right? So you can meditate, and then maybe you're going to try creative visualization, and then you're going to move through creative visualization into um, intuitive, being more intuitive and living intuitively. And then you keep practicing, and that intuition is going to move beyond just having a feeling or a sense. Maybe you're going to start having visions. Maybe you're going to experience psychic phenomena. Maybe you're going to see orbs. Maybe you're going to, I don't know, there's lots of different things that can happen.
yeah,
And then maybe you're going to move through that, and you're going to develop yourself as a remote viewer, and then maybe you're going to develop yourself as into a psychic, and then move even beyond the psychic into mediumship. So there's quite a long path, to those things. Now occasionally somebody, through cultivation of meditation, it could be through an accident, it could be something dramatic, and people sort of just quickly are at a certain level, and all of a sudden, they have a car accident and the next day that they're, you know, seeing dead people walk around. You know, those things do happen. People do get
Yeah.
expedited
Yeah.
for sure. But I would suggest that to any of those people, being expedited isn't always what it's cracked up to be. You know, it can be a very scary and have some negative um, experiences. But
Yeah.
if you come from a place of groundedness and have a strong mental foundation, which meditation will provide you with, you're going to navigate all of that better, and you're
Yeah.
going to have a sharp discernment, and you will be less inclined to move from a fear-based place or misperceive things. You know, I had a client once who, you know, had a very dramatic life. A lot of negative things happened. um, Swore up left, right, up and down that they were seeing demons, etc. And 3 years on after meditation, they were able to say, "Yeah, that isn't what was going on. I was projecting all of this,
Fears and
yeah, fear
yeah.
and memories and different things into that because that's what their brain could understand at that time."
Mm-hmm.
So discernment is a very, very important thing in life, I think, regardless of any psychic stuff.
Yeah.
It's being able to tell if the room is filled with people who like you or don't like you is important. Learning to read the room, learning to have energy, awareness is what I call it, is really important. And all those just basic life things, you're going to do it much, much better if you have a strong mind and a strong foundation.
Yeah. And your belief system too, right? Like I think a lot of
For
people
sure.
like digging into, so you've studied religions, you're open to all that could be,
Right.
and not putting a strong finger on one thing, right? Like
For sure. I think your ability to see the broader
yeah.
scale, and then also the context of experiences that you're having, um, the ability to know yourself really well
Yeah.
is going to infiltrate every area of your life. The confidence you walk with, you know, um, all of that's impacted, I think, with a strong foundation. And I know that, like I said, I think earlier to you, meditation is like the highway for all that, right? It's the
Yeah.
gateway. It's
Yeah.
certainly the gateway for psychic development, in my experience.
Yeah.
But it is progressional. Again, it's like you don't meditate for 4 weeks and all of a sudden you have all these amazing experiences and gifts. It's progressional.
Yeah. Yeah. Um so what um So just maybe tell us a little bit. So when I think of the walking meditation, obviously it's a little bit different from the Walk for Your World, Joe Dispenza collective consciousness that
Right.
he has done, right? Um, so that meditation is not is silent, and you are focusing just on the walking, or can you explain it to me a little bit?
Sure, like the practice that I do. Yeah. It
Because I
is.
think you can, like, you don't have to be outside. You can be doing it in your house,
No,
right?
it's to be honest, it's better if you're not outside. There's less distractions.
Okay.
Like I said, it is like pacing down the hallway. So you go your 15 feet, or I don't know, depending on how long, across your room, back down the hallway and back, and you just, your eyes are open, you're fully conscious. You can, I think, when you're beginning, there's obviously some technique involved. So the ideal is to be gazing down, maybe 3 feet in front of you, um, with your breath, having sort of a 2 syllable mantra, whatever that is. It could be world peace, it could be whatever you want it to be, but matching it to your breath. Um, and that's it. You just basically you walk till the end of the hallway, turn around, and you walk back, and maybe set an egg timer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or I would never go more than 30 minutes. You only need an hour a day.
Yeah.
Um, and you just do it back and forth. And there may ultimately, after a period of weeks or months, you may find a certain area on your body that just has a physiological response. It could be heat, cold, it could feel like it's on fire. Oftentimes, it's one of the chakras. And then that particular area on your body would be what you would know as a focal point, you know?
Okay.
So for energy to come in and out of you, and sometimes when you're doing the walking meditation, focusing on that area will help to strengthen the it's kind of like a bond you have with a particular area, you know.
Yeah.
I know for me it's my solar plexus, and that's where I tend to feel things in my gut, my vibrations, or if something good for me or not good for me, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then like your brain is gonna do its thing, right? You don't ever not have thoughts. Like there's always gonna
Yeah.
be thoughts. And what I tell people or encourage people to realize is, like, it's normal to have thoughts. You're not gonna delve into meditation and all of a sudden there's emptiness. That's
Right.
not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But you don't attach to the thought. And I tell people, imagine, you're sitting on your porch and a red Porsche shows up and you're like, well, isn't that a cool red Porsche? But you don't get off your porch and follow the Porsche home, right? And
No.
it's the same with our thoughts. You acknowledge the thought and then you let the thought go. So that
Yeah.
is going to happen. Even when you're sitting, that's going to happen. So the egg timer goes off, your 15 minutes are finished, and then you just go right into a comfortable chair that I say always is comfortable but not too comfortable. We don't want to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then you just sit. You just sit. That's all you do. Sit, hands in lap. You just sit until the next 15 minutes egg timer goes off. And that's it. That's as
Yeah.
simple as it is.
And
I tend to do 30 minutes and 30 minutes, but it's really about how much time you have and what you're comfortable with. Um, but I have found working, and there's no time in between, so it's not like I'll do my walking 15 minutes in the morning and then tonight when I come home from work I'll do my sitting 15 minutes. They
oh
have to
yeah.
be, yeah, they
Yeah.
have to be in tandem. Um, and yeah, for me personally, I just really started to um, there was just tremendous growth in my practice when I combined the two in tandem. After years, like almost 17 years of meditating without walking meditation. And then I start with the walking meditation, and within 6 months, I'm experiencing many different things. Now, was it because I was already at a level after all that time or not? I can't say, but I did that practice with many other people, and they've all had many different experiences. So I
Yeah.
found in my life that to be the most solid and profound way of meditating.
So there you go, Adam. Adam is going to started pacing in my room for the exercise, but walking meditation is something to think about now.
Cool. Well, if Adam, if you want a handout, let me know.
Yeah, so Trisha's website, I think I mentioned this before, is on here. So it is www.trishotone.com. And Keith is saying intuition. I think when we were talking about where you're feeling it, right? I didn't see when that popped up actually.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing, well, I like to think of it as a nice thing about meditation is there's so many benefits. Like, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get that. Like, if you stick with it, you're going to develop your intuition deeper. Like, we all have it in my brain, like in my
Oh yeah.
belief. That is our silent language that works in us, right? It's wonderful. And it is beyond the brain. It's not a thinking thing, it's a feeling thing.
Yes.
And you will develop it deeper and sharper the more you meditate. It's
Yeah.
just going to happen. It's a byproduct of your practice.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Um, yeah. So, and it's funny because when I introduced you, and kind of had that introduction about it being a doorway for you, and then you're calling it the gateway
The
because
gateway,
that's what it
yeah.
is. Yes, it's not. It's bigger than a doorway. It's a gateway.
It it really is. Like it really
Hmm.
is. If people aspire to grow spiritually, with or without psychic phenomena being part of that goal,
Hmm.
it is going to happen. It,
Yeah.
there, there's no way it can't not happen. You know,
Yeah.
it is a gateway to so many things,
Hmm.
and I just it has been the number one life changing thing that I have ever done for myself was develop a meditation practice.
Now, chanting
Yeah.
is one thing, and this one, oh, it's been a couple years now. And I would sit outside, and do this chant. A lot of people probably know it. It's Om Mani Padme Hum.
Tibetan
Um,
Buddhism from.
yes,
Yeah.
and just continually repeat it. I know doing Qigong as well, I was told that when you are sitting and you start rocking, it's because you're holding a lot of energy. But for me, I felt that I was receiving a clearing when I was doing that, right? Like, so
Well, I think
certain things
I,
do happen to people when they are in a meditation, right?
yeah, oh for sure. And in particular, so that chant is based in Tibetan Buddhism, and they're sacred words, right? They're prayers, they're sacred words,
Hmm.
and when you add vibration to sacred words, you're changing the vibration of your form of your body, your
Hmm.
energy body, and of course there's going to be an impact,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
um and it's interesting about the moving back and forth because I do that happens to me
Yeah.
even in silent meditation sometimes, and it's interesting because many years ago I was lucky enough to be in this thing. It's called the Kala Chakra initiation, and anyway there were like 1,000 people there, I don't remember, but we were with the Dalai Lama for like 12 days, like 15 hours a day. And I noticed all the monks were doing the rocking thing there, and I thought, now that's interesting. There's something to that, right? And I think that, I mean, the vibration of being in a room of monks saying that particular sacred prayer, with the horns and everything going, like the chanting is amazing.
Yeah.
It will impact you. It will, I think, move energy, which will be healing for you or anyone doing it.
Hmm.
um it will shake up your energy. Some people will, like, even if you have any Reiki treatment or energy treatment, some people are going to feel a little off. They're going to feel like maybe I have the flu, or they're going to feel, wow, I could be the Energizer Bunny, because it's going to rattle around. It's going to shake the tree of your energy. um, I think those things are amazing, and they can certainly move you out of a mood. Like they can move you, right? Like moving that energy.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. But again, it doesn't take the place of a practice
Right. Yeah.
that builds the muscles.
And um, so because I like that where you were talking about having a mantra
Doing your
when you were
walking.
doing the walking
Yeah.
part too. Um, so even if it's intentional, so if you're not saying it outside of yourself, but
Yes.
if you are saying it aloud, because that's another thing too, where you're talking about how this is free, right? So
Yeah.
our voice is also free,
Absolutely.
and tone and words is sound, which is sound healing, right?
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
make certain tones,
For sure.
and so I'm not really sure if that falls into, I guess it is part of a meditation if we sit and we start making different tones, right? Same
Yeah, I
thing.
think it can have meditative qualities for sure. I
Yeah.
think it's more of an energy exercise, is how I would view it, because
Mm-hmm.
you're moving energy, you're influencing energy with the sound. It just depends. Meditation is one of those big words that cover a lot of territory. It's a big umbrella, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's great to try all of it. Um,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's equally important to have a disciplined practice to see long term benefits of meditation.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah,
Um,
though, chanting is as old as time, right?
yeah. Yeah. Um, I know that one, like, I have been so grateful to find that because I would actually have to look it up, but releasing. So it's only 4 words, right? But it it releases 4 or 5 words.
Oh,
It's
I think it's
four.
five. Oh,
Is it? Oh, Mani Padme.
me,
Um,
oh yeah,
um,
four. Anyway,
but it releases ego. So because you know how sometimes you're feeling a lot of energy, it's because you're holding from someone else or you're
for
protecting
sure.
yourself, and
Yeah,
then
it's
you're yeah,
chanting
and
has that clearing, healing quality about it, right? It will
yeah,
move you
releasing
out of one
tension.
energy into another energy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just I know we're coming to our time, but
Oh yeah.
in when you have your mantra, silent or not, especially silent in walking meditation, whatever, it is normal for that to fall away. So, because some people, when they're starting their practice, especially walking, and then they're like, "Oh no, I forgot to do my mantra." That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's meant to fall away. You start with it because it is a vehicle to help you focus,
Right.
but it
Yeah.
is natural that it will fall away during meditation. So if that happens, you're not doing anything wrong. There's no wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like try different things, get into a rhythm, and then create it create your own, right?
Your own mantra, are you talking
Well,
about,
your
or
own, yeah,
meditation?
your own style of meditation that works. So like
For sure.
you can create different types into one too, that
Well,
kind of
like I said, anything can be meditative, right? Anything
thing.
can have a meditative quality.
Hmm.
Anything that feeds your soul is meditative.
Yeah.
But those things are not a practice, right? They have
Yeah.
meditative qualities, and there will be benefits to them, but they're not a disciplined practice. And I think it's good to have both.
Yes. Yeah.
Meditative cross training, that's what I call
It's a good word. That should be in your next book.
it. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I am so grateful that you came on,
Thank you very
and
much. Thank you
I
for having me.
will. Yeah, we can get together again in a couple months. I'll have you on again, and we can go deeper because we didn't even get into what you do on a daily basis. So,
Yep, there's time for everything, for sure.
yes, so we'll get back to that the next time. So Lois is on. She's saying thank you, great show. I'll make
Thanks,
yours a
Lois.
pleasure. Um, and Denise, great chat. Thanks for sharing. Have a great week. You too, Denise. And Adam as well. So great show, ladies. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you want to get a hold of Trish, her website is on here. I can put it into the chat after as well so that it is there. But if you watch the replay, you'll see it as well. So it's www.trish.com. So have a good week, and we will see you guys next week.
Perfect.
Thanks, Trish.
Thanks, Cindy. Have a good
Okay.
night.
Yep. We'll
Bye.
see you soon.